In this video, we're going to go over example 2, and I'll go over example 3 in the next video. But just kind of talking about these two examples real quick. These two examples are questions that you're going to see in your homework, or at least similar ones. To be honest with you, though, they don't really kind of belong in this homework, if you ask me. You're going to get questions about kind of key graphs from lesson 5, as well as transformations. And so this is almost more of like material over 5 and 6. And so I wanted to go over it so that you're not kind of thrown for a loop here. So getting to example 2, it says using data from 2016 and projected through 2025. Oh, excuse me. U.S. medical marijuana revenue in billions of dollars can be modeled by our function M of X, where X is the number of years after 2010. So part A wants is asking us, goodness. The graph of this function is a shifted graph from which basic function. When it's asking for like which basic function, it's wanting to know what key graph. Okay, so that again takes us back to lesson 5. So is this my M of X? Is it a linear function? Is it a square function? Cubic, square root, cubic root, reciprocal, or absolute value? I want you to pause the video and take a minute to figure out, and that's on page 72 and 73 in your spiral. Take a minute to figure out if you can tell me which key graph or basic function this one is if it hadn't been shifted. Okay, I hope you paused the video. And the answer to this question is our squared function. The key graph is y equals x squared. Because I have this x squared right here, that's what makes it my square function. X squared is that highest exponent. Okay. So part B wants us to find and interpret M of 24. So that just simply means that x equals 24. And if I skip down to part C, it wants me to graph this with x representing the years of 2016 through 2025. Sorry, guys. Okay. If I need to graph this anyways, I might as well use the graph to help me on part B. So I'm actually going to pull up Desmos and we're going to graph this. So we'll end up typing this into Desmos. And then I need it only through these years right here. So 2016, if X is the number of years after 2010, how many years after 2010 is 2016? If you subtract the 2, this means here that my X min is 6. And then what's 2025 minus 2010? And that would give me an X max of 15. So then we'll have to play with our Y values to get our Y's in there. Okay, so let's pull up Desmos. And to save a little bit of time, I should have already had this typed, but here we are. Okay, so we're going to type this in exactly the way it looks. Oops, not to the 6th. Okay. So there is my function. Let me kind of check it real quick. Okay, I like it. So now I'm gonna change my X to 6 and go to 15 because again, That's what it tells me. It wants X representing through 2016 through 2025. And then you can see if I don't change anything, I can't really see what's going on up here, right? So I can see there's nothing happening down here. So I'm going to change that one definitely to a 0, but this one needs to get bigger. So if I go 20, that's not bad. You can kind of see here, here's my line for 15 and it's not going above 15. So I might even change that to 15. And so here is my line right here. Now I do want to kind of make a note. When I am like this zoomed in to this quadratic, it looks like it is linear. That looks like it is a straight line, but it's just simply because I'm so zoomed in. If I start zooming out, I can see that quadratic, but when I am zoomed in so tight in right here, it's going to kind of look linear. Okay, but it is not linear. It's just the window that we're viewing this on. Okay, but I am going from 6 to 15. So here is part C. This is my graph right here. So I might even put on here, let's go with for Y, I'm going to say play around with graph, but we ended up on a Y min of 0 and a Y max of 15. Okay, but you're just kind of looking at the graph and playing around with some numbers there. So now I need to find and interpret M of 24. So we've already established that in function notation, this means my X equals 24. So in Desmos, I will do X equals 24. Okay, well, interesting. Why do I not have that on my graph? Well, what we have right now is a graph of an X min to 16 and an X max of 15. This is the graph you're going to look for on part C when you're picking your multiple choice graphs, right? But if I need X of 24, I need to expand my X max out. So now I'm going to come in here and change this. If I need X of 24, I'm just going to go a little past it. So I'm going to go to 30. And I can see that this isn't up enough. So let's play around with these numbers. Is 30 big enough for that? And yeah, it's barely big enough, but it is. Okay, so expand and expand, get that intersection in your graph. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And then technically, we could have even not messed with the window. You could have just simply zoomed out until you got to that intersection. So you don't even have to play around with the numbers if you don't want to. But here we have M of 24 equals 28.261. Okay. So we have found it. Check. Now I need to interpret. This is what we kind of struggle on, especially with my on-campus students that are having to do this by hand, right? What does this function represent? It says that the U.S. medical marijuana revenue in billions of dollars can be modeled by this function. So my M of X equals the U.S. medical marijuana revenue in billions of dollars. So what year are we in? If my X equals 24, and X is the number of years after 2020 or 2010, that means I am in 2034. Okay, we feel good about that. Okay, 24 plus that 2010. So in the year of 2034, I have a Y value of 28.261, which we've just found means that that is the U.S. medical revenue in billions of dollars. So the U.S. medical marijuana revenue will be $28.261 billion. So that is my interpret. The find is just the number. This is my interpret right here.